It is a Wednesday evening, and that means it's time for another live edition of the Auburn Family Night. I almost lost the name of it. Auburn Family Night is back for us to get together with you, the Auburn family, to talk about your comments, your questions, and of course, we'll take your calls. All that's coming up right now about anything and everything Auburn. The best way to say it, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. Let's get into it now. War Eagle, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live. As we addressed, it is Wednesday evening, and that means it's time for Auburn Family Night, the best night of the week if you are an Auburn family member, because this is the show on our content that is all about you, the Auburn family. On today's stream, we are going to discuss anything and everything Auburn. We call it the Auburn experience here. It is Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family related topics, all of it wrapped up into an orange and blue little bow. There are a variety of things that we could be discussing today. Fall practice starts tomorrow. Big Cat weekend was amazing this past weekend. There are Olympics news with Suni Lee being another gold medalist. The news, the topics abound. You get to pick which way we go with it from this point forward. So don't be shy. Jump into the live chat if you're watching live. Drop comments if you're on the replay. Make sure you utilize the call-in link as well if you'd like to. We'll open that up in just a second. Make this show the best Auburn family night that we've had to date. As you're coming into the stream, do us a favor, smash that like button. It's a huge help to get the show started off on a good note. It lets people know that we're live, lets them know to check in with us, and it also obviously lets people know this is something of value that they may want to check out. You can also check in with us if you'd like to as well. Let us know where you're watching from, or just say a War Eagle if that is how you would like to check in with us. Find people checking in from all over the place. Some of our regular people were ready to go this evening. Brian is so ready. He is checking in from both Facebook and YouTube. I admire the commitment. That is much appreciated, sir. I do value that so much. But let us know you're here. And don't be shy tonight. Jump on into the conversation and into the live chat. As I addressed at the start of the show, this is a call-in night, so you can take advantage of that if you would like to do so. And I highly encourage you to do so because it is something that is utilized by some of our regulars, but it should be utilized by all of you when you get the opportunity to, by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. It's a great place for you to stay at Auburn when you are coming to visit that loveliest village on the plains, but not just a place to stay, a place to have a great Auburn experience. Please do give Miss Tanya and Jep a look. They will set you up in a very nice location, very close to some of your favorite Auburn sports venues, other venues, things like that. They bring you the call-in link every single week. So check them out at allthingsauburn.net. You guys now take center stage. If you want to utilize that, hit the link at the top of the chat. It'll bring you right over here if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you won't be able to utilize that. You'd have to come over to the YouTube side of things. We got Thomas checking with us too. Good to see you, checking in from Leeds, home of Mr. Charles Barkley, Olympic gold. I was going to say former, but aren't you always an Olympic gold medalist unless it's taken away from you? Current, I guess, or just Olympic gold medalist, because he will always be that for obviously himself, the United States, and for Auburn as well. Sorry, this is since we're there now, I kind of got there on the Auburn and the Olympics topic. I know y'all are probably more focused on football and stuff right now, but let me just start there. I was thinking today as I was walking around, if some of y'all aren't aware, we've been doing a series on the main podcast whenever we need like a big top. There's not like a lot of news going on or something really meaty for us to dive into one of our major topics. We do a series called the Auburn Mount Rushmore. It is where we try to pick within a certain topic what is on that Auburn Mount Rushmore. So the 4 spots. So just to make things easy here, like the first one we did was the Mount Rushmore of Auburn quarterbacks. We gave our opinions. A lot of people gave theirs. So that episode's out there. We have done the Mount Rushmore of Auburn academic buildings. Believe it or not, there were some hot takes on that as well. We've also done the Mount Rushmore of Auburn basketball guards. Those are the 3 outside of our introduction in that series that we have done already. I was thinking today, once this Olympics is done and we wrap all that up, I thought it would be a fun time for us to do a Mount Rushmore of Auburn Olympics. I think on the surface, you look at those, it may be really easy. I just named one of the names that's 99.9% going to be on there. But I think there's some people that deserve to be on that Mount Rushmore of Auburn Olympics that maybe get bucked off of because of some other ones. So that's probably one that you guys can expect to come up in the nearest future. I'm not saying that'll be the next installment of the Auburn Mount Rushmore, but I was just thinking today, Auburn Olympics Mount Rushmore, who are those top 4 that we should put up there? Maybe you guys have some opinions. I would really love to hear from you if you do. All right, we got Dalton checking in, reminding everybody that this is the flagship show. No, you're talking about the Auburn experience. Listen, every content network company has to have that core thing that they do and centralize everything. And to be honest with you guys, to let me pull back the curtain a little bit, one of the great things about what we've done here over our 10 plus years is just had the variety, but it's always lacked that one true identity thing. Yes, sometimes it was around our football podcast that AJ and Jared do. Ben used to be on it. But it really needed its core thing. And so that's why we came up with that. And that's why it is called the flagship show, because that's what we do. I mean, we discuss anything and everything Auburn here, and it kind of encompasses all that with a heavy dose of sports and a heavy dose of football, basketball, things like that. Rowdy has to be on the Olympics Mount Rushmore. I would agree. See, I think I was on a walk today. I try to take a daily walk just to kind of not really even to break a sweat or get the heart pumping, but just kind of an all-encompassing benefits walk. Sometimes I listen to a podcast. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just think about stuff for myself, the business. Today was one of those days where I was thinking about that on my walk. And I said, yeah, I've got 3 right now really quickly. And I think I've got the 4th. But then that leaves off this person. That leaves off that person. So it's a lot more difficult than I think people realize to come up with the top 4 Auburn Mount Rushmore for the Olympics. It's not difficult to come up with those names. It's just difficult that you have to push someone off that maybe final 2 or 3 or 4 spots. I don't know. If you guys have any opinions, Rowdy is definitely one that I think has probably got a very strong case to be up there in most people's. I think Charles is one as too. Maybe another lady currently that is fighting real hard to have that spot, if not already earned that spot. But then you've got some in basketball still that people aren't thinking about. You've got track and field. I feel like I'm already missing someone. Oh, I just thought of another one that's kind of retired recently, but I believe she's retired, but she is kind of a legend in the swimming space. Maybe you guys know who I'm talking about. So there's a lot of candidates for that list. Who's see? All right. We can come back to Auburn Olympics talk. I know maybe some of you are probably like done with Olympics. I just even said to Jessica when we were eating dinner, I was like, doesn't it feel like it's already been going on for 2 weeks and it's only 2 weeks long, but it's not even been a week yet of it actually being out there. And by the way, as a final note, transitioning maybe to some topics y'all are more interested in, but today, JT Thor in South Sudan took on the United States and did not win, as you would expect them to not be able to beat the United States. I mean, I'd hope that our team is strong enough to beat South Sudan. No offense to JT in South Sudan, but I don't know if y'all saw that today, but really proud of him. He's another one of those that we throw up there in the pantheon of Auburn being a global thing. How cool. I'm sorry. I said I was going to be done with the Olympics talk, but there's so much Auburn stuff. How cool was it to see Suni Lee getting the War Eagle moment and her responding to it on national television? I mean, that's just really, really cool. That should make your Auburn heart grow 5 sizes today or yesterday, whenever it happened. All right. Thomas has got it in caps. Let's go there. I'm surprised no one's brought up Big Cat Weekend yet. Fall camp starts tomorrow. We talked about throughout the summer getting to these certain points, getting to the end of the spring semester, which kind of marks the end of, or the beginning in essence. Really it's A Day. The end of A Day marks that long wait for football, but you got some stuff to hold you over while the spring sports are wrapping up. So once that's over, you got this like month and a half stretch getting you to SEC Media Days. There's a little bit of hype built up about it. Then it's suddenly gone. Then you wait another week and a half, 2 weeks for that final stretch until fall practice starts. That is where we are right now. It has arrived. It has begun. If you're watching this on the replay, the day on Thursday, fall practice is here. And so that means we are now in an official countdown to college football. Not that we haven't already been already. We've been putting out video. By the way, those of y'all that are watching our reels for our countdown reels that we're doing on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, Facebook, y'all are responding very well to those this year. I figured they would do well, but I'm shocked at how well they are doing. So thank you guys for those of you that are liking that, watching it, liking it, of course, even sharing it out on those platforms. That's a huge, I don't think y'all understand how big of a factor that is. Whenever you guys as regular patrons, people, not even call you fans, just partners in what we do here, share those things out, like those things, drop the comments, all that stuff. That's humongously helpful. I know you hear content creators say that all the time. I know it doesn't seem like it. It seems like we just have canned responses to this, but it's the truth. It is the truth. All right. Fall practice. What are you guys excited about? What are you anticipating? I am expecting to be on. In fact, I actually should check my messages. All right. I'm trying to go appear on one of these bigger college football shows that I regularly appear on, The Voice of College Football. We're trying to get some times worked out for me to go on there and do like a little bit of a preview of fall camp with him. It may not happen till Friday now, it looks like. But what storylines are you guys thinking about? What are you focused on? What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Because I'll be honest with you, when I was thinking about if I was going to be on The Voice of College Football today, thinking about some of the things to talk about, I was going to be honest with him and say, look, I think it's more so, hey, there's Miss Linda, everybody. Say hey to Linda. Good to see you, hun. Good to see you. I think there's less stories out there than Auburn, some Auburn fans especially, want there to be. I do think you're lacking a quarterback controversy or true battle at this point, whether you want to accept that or not. I think the biggest storylines, the biggest interest points are around the wide receiver group. Who else, along with Cam Coleman, may step up at that group? I mean, because think about it. It's just Caleb Burton and Camden Brown, right? I think that's the only two that are the same. How wild is that? So, there's that. The new faces on defense. Here's a hot take. I think the biggest question mark right now, in terms of just true unknowns, will Alex McPherson be able to kick for us this year? This kid's been going on, had this gastrointestinal issue happening. And as I've said on previous stream shows, wherever it's been, I'm not even joking about that, because I have family members that deal with some similar things there. I can tell you how debilitating that is and how life altering in some ways that can be. So it's bad enough that it's kept him from participating in some of the team activity. Or how about this? Maybe not. I shouldn't say that. To be cleared to play. So that shows you right there is a big deal. So honestly, the biggest question mark out there for fall practice that I personally can think of at this moment, other than people that want there to be something else, is will Alex McPherson be our kicker this year? Towns Magoo seems ready to go based off his 8A performance, but it is still an 8A performance if we're going to put that into the discussion about Cam Coleman and all that, whether or not how legit he is. We have to be fair and say that's the same thing there for everybody that participated in 8A. So if you've got an opinion, if you've got a question, if you've got a thought, if you've got an interest point, a topic, something that you're wanting to see here tomorrow, the rest of these many, many weeks leading up to football, which will stretch on forever, let us know. Let us know. We'll talk about some of those things. If you guys haven't heard, there will be a press conference tomorrow on YouTube. I think they broadcast it on Facebook too. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just YouTube at this point for Coach Hugh Freeze. We've bounced back and forth about how we do this. A lot of the time, I do have access to those through the athletic department. I put the full press conferences up there for. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't, and you kind of have to be careful as a content creator what you do and do put up. I'll probably put the full one up once we get access to it, but we try to at least put some clips and things up for you guys. But if in case you're interested, if you follow our X account, we will put up. Yes, it's War Eagle Plus 2 is a good place to watch that, but I believe it's going to be open to everybody on YouTube too. You will I had a train of thought lost there. Anyway, I was just saying that you can watch that. You can follow along with us on X. We'll put notes out there for you guys, things that you may be interested in knowing about, or if you're not able to watch it, that you can keep up with our thoughts about it and go back and watch the thread. All right, we got our first caller tonight, so let's go ahead and say hello to him. We didn't get to hear from him last week, I think, if I remember correctly, but he's back to here. I'm sure he's got a notebook somewhere around him too. So let's talk to the man. Manville, what's going on, sir?
War Eagle, y'all. How are y'all this evening?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. Surviving the heat and just waiting on football.
I was just outside doing yard work before I took a shower so I could pretty myself up for you guys. It's already a pretty bad presentation. I got to work with what I got. Yeah, it's hot out there, man.
I made the mistake of deciding to smoke some chicken thighs this afternoon, and it was a balmy 104 in the carport with that grill going. Golly.
Yeah, you listen. I know you're excited. Maybe cool it literally for the pre-tailgating hype and all that. Yeah, it's warm out there, man. Just think, the boys tomorrow. Even though I'm sure they'll start in the morning and maybe practice in the afternoons later too. They've got their indoor facility. When they run outside, they're gonna be sweating a little bit.
Oh yeah. From what I understand, up until the time that classes start, practices are going to be in the mornings, and then once school starts, they'll have their morning classes, and then they'll do afternoon practices. So they get that acclimation period of we're just now getting back into full pads, we're just now making contact. We'll do it in the mornings where it's still humid as all get out, but the sun's not beating you up. Plus, like you said, they got the indoor facilities, but they're going to have to get out in that heat. And look, if you've ever played the game of football in the Southeast, that's football weather.
Oh, yeah.
Like August and September is football weather. That's what gets you ready for the rest of the season. So I'm just excited for them to get started, man. I really am. Everybody got to check in today, and tomorrow's when they put the pads on, and that's when it gets going.
Did they put out a video today? Normally they do like a check-in like video or something like that, like everybody's ready. Do they have something like that today?
If they did, I missed it. I was smoking chicken in the carport.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that. I was a little busy on and off today, but tomorrow's the day, and I know we're all excited about it. There'll be this initial hype for it. We'll get those initial little insight videos and things like that, our press conference. Yeah. But, after about the first, when we get through this part, through the weekend and maybe like Monday, they'll start to wear off too. And then we're like, all right, when we playing? Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. But this week is when we get to kind of, we're not there at camp, but we get to kind of hear through the grapevine and through interviews with players, interviews with media coaches of who's about it and who's not, who's ready to go and who's got a little lingering here, who's not quite ready. But I mean, tomorrow's when you buckle up the chin strap and you hit somebody. To quote one of my coaches is, it's time to practice. I want to hear pads popping, and I need blood, sweat, and tears, because that's what it's going to take to get ready to play this game and get ready for the season, because we ain't got an easy one.
There'll be plenty of sweat, hopefully minimal blood. I mean, a little bit's fine. And hopefully very few tears, because I want to know our guys are tough enough to withstand this. But obviously you got to go through the grind. We got some freshmen about to come in here, and yeah, they may have experienced it in Alabama, even in the playing football out there. But when you're playing with the big boys, you are playing SEC football with SEC level talent. Some of these guys have been here for 3-4 years. Some have even been, in power conferences elsewhere. And here now, you are about to get your. I could have gone somewhere with that. I'm not going to. You're about to experience something else with the elements, with all of that. It's big boy time. So welcome to the SEC, I guess is the best way to say it.
I mean, we're the Olympics of college football. Realistically, it's the best in the world doing exactly what they do, and they all reside in the SEC. There's a lot of good players in other conferences, but nobody's as stacked as the SEC. Even with our lesser teams, nobody's as stacked. But you made a good point about freshmen. So we got freshmen coming in now, but how about Big Cat Weekend?
Man, I continue to be very open about me having to atone for my disbelief that we could pull off 6 in the weekend. I don't know if you were here for some of those streams. It was on a TikTok stream we did. Somebody came in and said, some of the experts are predicting 5, maybe 6 commits on the weekend. I said, look, that just seems ridiculous. I mean, if we get 3, I'll be happy, but I would expect 6 over a time period, meaning like they came to Big Cat, you laid the foundation, and then you work your way continually kind of building that hype up, and then they pull the string or they pull the cord, whatever, to make that commitment a week or so down the road. Here I am looking back and not just 6, but 6 on the weekend, but we're talking about 8 now already as a result of Big Cat Weekend with a potential number 9 out there. That's wild. That's wild.
It is. Like we've had Big Cat for a while, and it's never been like this. I mean, we've had some good ones, but look at Hugh Freeze's 2 Big Cat weekends versus everybody else's multitude of Big Cat weekends. This is serious. Like the recruiting game has changed at Auburn. In my lifetime, it really hadn't been like this. Maybe late Bowden and then some of Tuberville's eras, but it's not been like this. Now, NIL plays a part in that and the whole landscape of college football, but we brought in a dude that can recruit, and he is violently recruiting the state of Alabama. He's violently recruiting the Southeast, and he's taking candy from other teams in our league. And that's a beautiful thing. And people can complain all they want to, but I didn't complain when you took it from us, because I was sitting here as an Auburn fan over the last 10 years going, okay, well, they've got a number 1, number 2, number 3 recruiting class, and we're number 12. I'm not mad. Look at realistically where we are. But the changes the university's made and the changes this coaching staff has made are unreal, man. Like we flipped 2 from our arch rival. We're close to taking some from Ohio State, probably 1 from Notre Dame too. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are seriously considering Auburn that 2-3 years ago would have just written us off and never even thought about us. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference that the right coaching staff and the right mindset and culture makes. And you can say NIL plays into it all you want to, but everybody's been getting paid as long as I've been alive. I mean, we missed out on a national championship in '93 for somebody buying groceries. So the rules have changed, and Auburn's doing everything the right way. On the Victory is just absolutely killing this NIL deal. They've got everything's in place. Everything's ready to go. It's hard to be surprised that we're doing this well as an Auburn fan, but at the same time, with everything that has changed about Auburn, and thank you, Lord, for that pressure-treated pine. We do appreciate it. Everything's looking real dadgum good right now, and I'm excited about it. So the guys we're bringing in, we're building. We're not patching holes. We're not patching near as many as we used to, but we're building. And you don't start with a roof. You start with a foundation, and that's what's going on, and I'm excited as I can be about it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem for Hugh. The precedent has set you're capable of 6 in one weekend. You set the precedent, sir. You got to match it now. Now, let's be honest here, folks. I want to pull, maybe not pulling the curtain back for some of you guys. Maybe some of y'all have perceived this already. Some of these guys were already planning on committing and were likely, and this is a step. I have no proof of this, but I think other than I've seen some commentary from them saying I've been planning to commit for a while, that they were told to wait and do it on this weekend. which is a smart move, right? You got people here that maybe aren't as solid and being ready to commit. But if you go bang, 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 all just one after the other, and then it just goes in your head, okay, even if I'm aware they told me, a fellow commit told me, they told me to wait, there's something going on here. I want to be part of this thing. And look, it's through 2026 with the first three. Then everything after that was 2025. I mean, we got a punter this week too, man. I mean, what else could you want? It was weird to see, though, that the majority of these guys were defensive side of the ball. And this is Hugh Freeze, the offensive-minded head coach. So it was just a wild week. And we had a family trip this week that kind of had to happen very quickly. And when we were going, I was like, look, I'm probably going to have to work a little bit, but I think I'll only have to maybe do it for like 2 or 3.
Yeah, that got blown out of the water.
Literally, I set up a little mini, if y'all have watched the streams from this weekend, a little mini thing up in this attic. And I was like, okay, I'm done with that one. That's probably the last one for the day. I'll see another one tomorrow, maybe 2 on Sunday. And then I literally would walk down the steps, go back up, walk down the step, go back up. There's another one. There's another one. We're trying to play dominoes with somebody, and I can't even play my double twos because there's another commit. That's what this weekend was like. So it was awesome. It was really awesome.
It was great. I mean, it really was. And I'm just astounded by how quickly they were able to turn it around. Freeze was hired, and he said, wait till 2025. We got to get guys in here. And the 2025 class is stout. And now the 2026 class is looking pretty dadgum stout. Now, and again, things can happen. We got to get them on campus. They got to sign. They got to be here. But their ability to go out and grab these guys where they wanted them and say, we want you here. I know they want you here, but we want you here. And we're predicating it on building something. We're not just throwing you out here to say, hey, have a great year and go pro. We need a Band-Aid, and you're the best in the country. We'd like to offer you this amount of money to play 1 year for us and then go pro because you're the best left tackle, center, tight end in the league or in the country right now. We're not doing that. We're building things up. And it still just astounds me. I'm flattened, and that's a good thing. I like being flattened as an Auburn fan because a lot of times we just kind of sit there stagnant. And I get it. We hadn't had the best of years recently, but things are looking great, and I'm all for it, man. I really am.
Let me ask you 2 things to round out our call tonight. Let's start with this comment right here. You kind of already touched on it. Now that we have these commits, how do we make sure that we keep them from flipping, decommitting? Well, first of all, folks, Antonio Coleman has flipped 3 times already. Just prepare yourself. I'm just saying, like he says he's done. There's y'all probably seen the video online, and it's hard for me to take somebody at that. Listen, if you follow the track record, he kind of explained it too, I think, with some of his commentary on it, that, he wanted to stay true to that first flip. Losing Jeremy Garrett to the NFL kind of obviously made him concerned about where his positional coach would be at and stuff like that. Yeah. And maybe felt more secure after this point. But so I say that a little bit in jest. But your question is, how do we keep these guys from flipping, decommitting? I mean, NIL helps. Winning helps.
Winning in NIL, making sure that the coaching staff and current players are in contact with these guys day in and day out. Hey, man, I'm excited to be here. I want you here. Look, the best quarterback wants to go throw to the best receivers, and the best linemen want to block for the best running back. You want to be best on best to give yourself the best chance to win and advance and put yourself in the draft. I mean, yeah, you get into free education, but everybody's here to go to the draft, trying to make millions of dollars. So The best quarterback in the country does not want to stand behind a ho-hum offensive line, nor does he want receivers to throw to. So they're filling those spots. So to keep those guys that are filling those spots there is winning games in NIL and staying in contact with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Best on best is a good way to think about it. And obviously, we appear to be heading in the right direction recruiting-wise. So final thing for you, we kind of bring it back to what you initially started with. Practice starts tomorrow. What's the one thing that you are most interested in? Like as specific as you can be, whether it's a question mark, whether it's you're excited about it. When I asked Thomas Manville, Auburn practice, where does your mind go first?
2 things. How many different iterations of the offensive line they run within the first week of practice, not just tomorrow. How many times do they change your starting five or your first five up on the offensive line this first week to see who gels where? Second thing is who gets more reps at the second team quarterback, because I think it could probably be equal for the two guys behind him. I don't think Walker White gets a lot of reps the first couple weeks. He might get some reps this first week, but after that, I don't see him coming in anytime, starting and saving us and leading us to a victory unless we are in a really, really bad spot. Right. But I think Peyton Thorne's going to get at least a third of the reps, and the rest of the quarterbacks are going to split the other 2/3.
Yeah, and maybe I should go back to what I said earlier and say it's not that there's no quarterback competition, but as you pointed out, the second team quarterback could be a very strong competition, because I've talked about this a lot. Holden Geriner's had a lot of opportunities to leave, and he hasn't, which is interesting to me on many levels. Not that I have dismissed him in any way from this battle, but a lot of people I think have, because we all get excited about, commits that come in and the grass is always green on the other side type of thing. But I'm intrigued. And I think that's a good thing. A good way to, if you are wanting a quarterback, not controversy, but conversation to be a big thing this fall camp, think about it that way. What is the backup? Who's going to be the backup of the backup? Is it as simple as it looks right now? Holden, Hank, Walker White. Is it a mixture of that? But I like what you said. Maybe a third reps going to Peyton, rightfully so, and then the rest of that being broken down amongst the three of them in some way. And maybe it is pretty equal, that last 2/3, spreading that out equally to start with. And then you go, all right, after we get through this weekend, we're going to know kind of how this is going to start shaking out. So we're going to start taking a few of those away, so to speak, however you like to look at it. But I'm not shocked that your first point was about offensive line, though.
Yeah, and as far, the last thing I'll say is touch on the quarterbacks one more time.
Yeah.
You've got till August 31st to get this ready. So the first 2 weeks, I can see, like I said, Thorne taking a third of the reps and 2/3 going between the other guys. After that, Thorne is going to be taking the majority of the reps unless something drastic happens. And then the other guys are going to get their reps scaled down, which means less for your second team guy, even less for your third team, fourth team, and then your other guys. But they've got to get everybody comfortable, and they know they're running a similar offensive system with different terminology from what I pick up. And I might be right, I might be wrong.
I think you're on it.
But I understand that's what's going on, and it's going to be imperative that the last 2 weeks of camp and all through camp that is well understood and able to be executed at a high level, or we're going to be in trouble.
Cohesion, alignment, collective understanding across the board. We're talking about play calling, mentality, mantra, all of that is going to be very important. And I agree that one thing to final add on our conversation here. If you guys are, and I'm excited about Walker White's future here. You should be very excited about that. But you have to remember, this kid's a freshman. It takes them a while. Even Cam Coleman's, it takes them a while to acclimate. Just because they look amazing when they in A-Day games doesn't mean it's going to immediately translate over. And if you're worried about Walker White maybe not getting the reps, there's always scout team, and he's going to. Sometimes the best thing is just to go up and compete against SEC level competition, even if it's yourself. So these guys are going to get more reps in the scout team, maybe not running our specific offense, but playing against these type of defenders. The speed of the game, high school to college, is very different, which is why I'm always just I laugh when I see people go, "Oh, this person's tape looks amazing from high school. Of course, he's going to be what his 5-star says." It's not always the case. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. I'm not going to say it's never, but it takes some time. So if you're worried about reps, if you're worried about that, just be patient. Their time will come, and hopefully it's in a good way, not meaning we went through injuries or we are having real problems, because if we're having real problems, we're all going to be very unhappy. So, all right, Thomas, it was good to hear from you. I'm sure we'll hear from you a lot on Wednesday nights as we get closer and closer to the season, but it's always a joy to hear from you.
Hey, just remember, folks, it's called building, not built. War Eagle, y'all have a good night.
Well said, sir. All right, that was Mr. Manville. Good to hear from him. You guys can utilize the call-in link as well. Please don't be too shy about it. I get it's a little weird to do that sometimes, but hit the link at the top and join in on the conversation here today. All right. There were a couple of questions and comments that we didn't touch on during the call. We put a few up there because they were with us, with what we were talking about with Thomas. I'll go back through a few of those. If you got other topics, questions that we haven't hit yet, especially, now's your time to start putting those in because we want to hit a few of those. We have already talked a little bit about Big Cat practice, even Auburn in the Olympics, SUNY, things of that nature. But there's still plenty on the table that we can discuss that hasn't been or rehash. Let's go back to this. And Andrew asked earlier, I don't know if he's still watching or not, what is the latest on quarterback Deuce Knight? I'm trying to really figure out a way I can express this that doesn't come off as me being rude to people when I say this, but I'm also trying to be very forward in how I express this as well. We've got to stop worrying so much about the decision-making process of 17 and 18-year-old boys. When you ask what's the latest on quarterback Deuce Knight, I'm just curious, what do you expect there to be? Like, I mean, he's either committed or he hasn't. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't claim to be. I get tidbits of information on other things, even outside of recruiting from time to time. But it doesn't make me an insider or anything like that. I would spend much less time worrying and fretting about what's the latest on this person that hasn't even committed yet, and just worry about who you've got. I get it. It's exciting. It's anticipatory to, wonder about these things. But this day and age, you've got a pretty good idea of who's going to commit and who's not, because they love to announce, like this. There's Saturday, I believe. I think it's at 6. There's another Smith deciding they want to commit or not. That one you can probably get real interested in because it looks like there might be a little bit of smoke there. But I'd slow down on focusing on this. There's an obsession, whether it was Juju, whether it was KJ Lacey, whether now it's the new thing is Deuce. I'd slow down that very, very hardcore. And even Thomas says there's smoke around Deuce, but nothing definitive. What's my saying? I'm taking my take on the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. But to what degree? It can be a little bit of a coals, a little ember. That doesn't really mean that there's a risk of a burst, a flame, or anything like that. Could. Absolutely could. All right. Let's see here. WT asked earlier, I have not watched closely. How are we doing with linemen, both O-line and D-line? Thomas kind of broke that down for you a little bit, what he's watching for. Coach Freeze said during SEC Media Days that he feels really good about the depth of our defensive line. Now, what he was very honest about is the depth is great, but what he is curious to see is where that depth stacks up in compared to the other teams' offensive lines in the SEC. He feels good about what I took away from is good about rotations, bodies that need to be out there that are going to be serviceable. We're not just throwing somebody out there who's going to get run over by an Alabama or a Georgia offensive lineman. But where is our talent level in regards to others while still having that depth? Offensive line, as I've always talked about, it's been making these slow, steady progressions from a very dark time. We got to have them this year make that big leap back to prominence of creating a solid, very hard to stop run game that will open up the pass for some of these young, talented wide receivers or just new wide receivers, and a quarterback, whether we're talking about Peyton, anybody else, or ones from the past. The quarterback position has just needed some support. And all of that goes back to the offensive line. Linda asked about Brian Battie. Last, we had shared their post from their GoFundMe. And it sounds like we are looking at, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but from everything that I've read that they have posted, people talking about it, we're looking at a modern day miracle here, folks. The way I understand it is he was hit in the head with a bullet. You have to be careful when you say these things on social media. And that's not good, folks. Let's just be honest. No indication that this was going to go the way we hoped it would. And it seemed for a while there that things were a little bit dicey because there wasn't a lot of information. There wasn't a lot of hopeful information either way. And then when it looked like we were talking about survivability, Now we're talking about, okay, well, what's he going to be capable of at this point, which is just a blessing in of itself at this point that he's still around with us. But it sounds like we're talking about a full recovery at some point. I'm not talking now. I'm not talking this year. They've talked, used the phrase long road ahead and stuff like that. But to me, it sounds like Brian Battie is God's not done with him. I don't know Brian. I don't know his family, but I hope this is an opportunity for him and his family as well, to take hold of that and realize God wants you around for some reason. Don't waste this. So it's pretty cool, man. It'll get you a little emotional if you start thinking about it too much, because I thought we had lost him for a little bit there. All right. John said a little bit earlier that Hank is the man, in my opinion. So, John, I would ask you, and you've been around here long enough for me to be very frank with you, buddy. What other than a fourth quarter against third, fourth string of Maryland makes you think that he's the one, in your opinion? I've seen this a lot, and I've tried to get somebody to tell me other than that, because to me, that's not a good enough reason. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. What makes you think he's the guy? I think it's less of you think he's not you specifically, but this narrative that he's the guy, and we don't want Peyton Thorne to be the guy, and we don't believe anybody else at this point. I think that's really what's going on there. I could be wrong. Maybe I have missed something, but I'm just curious where this, in your mind, John, anybody else who holds that opinion, it comes from. All right. Got a lot of comments coming in, so we'll get through these as much as we can. All right. CJ brings up some men's basketball news. Added Houston's schedule. Bruce is on a roll. Now, CJ, I'm glad you brought this up. Let me double check on... by the way, if y'all were wondering if there was a back to practice video, they literally just posted a few seconds ago on X, but it could be different places as well. But there's your video. it's them like all arriving at the football facility, cutting up and stuff like that. So I don't have the sound on, but it's there. It has not been officially. Okay, let's go back to what CJ was talking. CJ is talking about men's basketball added Houston to the schedule. Bruce is on a roll. Hasn't been officially announced yet, although you'll see some of our beat writers that are reporting that out there. Usually means it's going to happen. So we can pretty much definitively talk about that at this moment. Just don't want to act like it is an official thing that has been signed on the dotted line. What means is there's probably some contract details being worked out. But how cool is that? You've got Houston being added to this already incredible, and I mean incredible, non-conference schedule for Auburn this year. You have got Duke, at Duke, Cameron Indoor. The Maui Invitational was big enough in itself. UConn, Iowa State, Colorado. I'm blanking on North Carolina. So many of the great teams are going to be there alone. Then you're going to add Purdue for 2 games this year. And supposedly we're adding this 2-game series with Houston. And there was a rumor out there somewhere that we were going to add a game in Atlanta with Iowa State, who's not been a slouch in basketball in the not so distant past. Folks, why are we so blessed? Does that put us at risk of losing some games about playing so many great teams? Sure. But my gosh, if you are a college basketball fan and you're an Auburn basketball fan, this should just thrill you to death. We are in for a treat this year. And if the team is as good as I think that they will be, we're in for a fun, a wildly entertaining college basketball season, but a equally as good Auburn basketball season. So I hope you guys are really excited about that. All right, let's see here. If you think we're done taking Bama's lunch money, think again. Yeah, a lot of Bama fans got real high and mighty on that little run they went on before this and started talking some trash. And what goes around comes around, my friends. So remember that as well, Auburn fans. WT is the lone owner of our War Dustbuster t-shirt. Y'all all had an opportunity to get it. We had a copyright claim against it, which there's no Auburn in it or anything like that, but somehow War Dustbuster old story here at the E2C network somehow is a cop. So we're not going to put it back up. Usually if we get a mark against it one time, that means it'll happen again. It'll just be a hassle. So WT, you get your own. I'm sorry, the E2C logo is not on there, but you'll have a cool story. And I'll know exactly who, because we've never met in person, I will know exactly who you are if we meet in person ever. Neil says he's very excited about recruiting. Can't wait to see Auburn football in 2 years. I think you've got the right mindset. I think patience, understanding this is all exciting, but it's still going to take a little bit of time for all of this to start working itself out. It is. Just be patient, Auburn fans. Let's see here. WT said, like you say, we are coming slowly out of a deep, dark place with offensive line. I just think of the head coach that dug that deep, dark place and hiring. Okay, WT, okay. And part of that crowd. It's not so. Oh, I missed this. Thomas with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I believe in Auburn and love it. What's y'all's way too early prediction for wins in football this year? I'm going to go with 8. All right, let's do this. Let's use Thomas as prompt here real quick. I'll come back to some of those maybe comments and questions that we, because I see one from Neil that I do want to go back to and address. That's a really cool thing I've thought about. But let's talk about this. Thomas has asked the question, way too early predictions for wins this football season. As you all know, I am not giving out mine yet, so I will not participate. Although my operating procedure every year is that Auburn at bare minimum is capable of 8-3 as a program historically, usually no matter the circumstances. So that's kind of where I start from. But what say you? What do you think is Auburn's way, or what are your way too early predictions for Auburn wins this football year? As you're thinking about it, some are just giving their full record, what you basically do if you give the wins, because I guess you can't really, you can't have a tie anymore. 5 games to start off the year at home, all winnable. Very tough one day in the year, or in that 5-game stretch. Really tough away game schedule this year. Georgia, Alabama, Missouri, if they're legit. Kentucky will not be a pushover as well. You get Texas A&M at home, another rinky dink at home. It's going to be tough. I'm leaving some out. Vanderbilt's at home too. So think about that when you're making some of these predictions. We got 8 out there. Thomas said started off with 8 wins here, 7 wins, a little bit on the conservative side for Neil, but that's still an improvement, right? So there's that. 9-3, 8-4, lots of predictions coming in. So it looks like we're all falling in the same category. Some maybe a little bit higher, some maybe a little lower. I don't see a prediction yet of that, whether it's 9-3, 8-4, 7-5, that I think is out of the realm of possibility. I think those are the 2 windows that you're looking at right now. Not a prediction for me yet, but potentially, this is what you could be looking at for this upcoming 2024 season. All right. Listen, it's like who's waiting in the wind here. It's almost like you knew he was ready to come on. So we have our next caller ready. We'll get back to some of y'all's comments and questions that y'all have mentioned outside of that conversation. But wanted to give him the thank you for dropping that super chat and a great conversation starter. Well, let's go ahead and say hello to our next caller. There he is. What's going on, Kevin?
Where you go?
How you doing, buddy?
There
you are. There you are. We got you back.
I think we will go 12-0.
It's like Neil knows you, but Neil predicted you'd say 12-0. So you're calling undefeated season. National championship?
Yeah.
Okay. He said, yeah, what? Yeah, why not? Why not?
And we got Antonio Coleman back.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's staying.
Now, I listen, I'll take him at his word, I guess, but he's flipped 3 times already. That never happens. And I don't know. I think sometimes you got to be a little skeptical when someone's going boom, 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 back and forth.
Yeah, we got that Derek Smith too.
Yeah, what you think we'll get Derek Smith this weekend? A lot of people think so.
We already did.
I'm sorry, Jared Smith. I may have misspelled.
Oh,
Jared
yeah,
Smith.
Jared Smith.
He said, "Oh yeah." Who's your favorite commit on the weekend?
Quan Fagans.
Yeah, and Quan Fagans. Yeah, he was a good get. His brother's here with us currently. I think that was one everybody saw coming.
His brother is at Auburn right now.
He is Antoine Fagans. So we got Antoine and Quan. So a little bit confusing. Very similar names.
Yeah.
But one is well, I guess they're both defensive backs, or is he a linebacker? He's a defensive. Antoine is a defensive back. But I'm trying to remember if Antoine's a linebacker or not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they're both here. That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
And I think I still have a gut feeling about KJ Lacey.
Listen, I will let you have that gut feeling, and the day that it happens, you get to say I told you so. But I wouldn't hold out hope, buddy. I don't know that we're gonna focus so much on quarterbacks in this cycle, and I don't think you really need to worry about that. We have got an incredible class addressing a lot of needs this year, and we got enough to celebrate there. But maybe you're right. You never know, right? Things are never set in stone.
Because Antonio Coleman is his teammate.
Yep, but there's a lot of teammates on every high school team that don't travel with their teammates. But this year we've seen it a lot. We've seen a lot of people, a couple of people come from Thompson. We've seen a couple from,
how about that pun?
Pun? Yeah, he's from Thompson. You excited about him?
Yeah.
We needed one because Oscar Chapman's going to be gone after this year.
We got Caleb Harris.
Caleb Harris, the defensive back?
Yeah, from Thompson.
Yeah, is he part of this class? I felt like he was already here for some reason. Maybe I'm thinking about Caleb Wooden.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought he was already here and a part of the team, but I could be wrong. But we like to go to Thompson High School and get some players.
And we like to go to Auburn High School get some players.
We certainly do. So look, we have solidified a kicker, a punter in the last two cycles. So and whatever happens from that point should be pretty good.
And Mobile and Gulf Shores.
Just everywhere, right? We just run in the state, aren't we?
Yeah.
Alabama forgot that what state they reside in. We reminded them, the state of Auburn.
So, and I'll be there for Fan Day next Saturday.
I hope so, buddy. Make sure you come find me and say hello.
Hey, what time is it?
Are you guys part of On to Victory? That's the NIL group. So if you contribute a certain amount of money to that to help support the players, you get an early access, I think at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, but I believe it is 3 o'clock. I could actually clarify that for you. I believe it is 3 o'clock on Saturday, the 10th, where you will be able to go in to the football facility, the old one. Yep. 3 p.m. Eastern time, maybe it's 2 o'clock Central time. I have it on my calendar here at Eastern time, but anyway, 2 or 3 o'clock. And you'll be able to go in there, get autographs, see the band, pep rally, all that kind of stuff.
Pepper rally?
Not pepper rally, but pep rally. Yes, we'll have a little pep rally with the band, with some of the band, all them.
I bet last time I went to the Fan Day, they had the seniors in the basketball gym.
That's probably a long time ago. It's not in the basketball gym. They're going to have everybody in the old football facility, the indoor practice area behind the athletic. So I highly doubt that they'll spread them out. Now, what they have done is they let other teams be there too, like soccer, volleyball, cheerleaders, and they have put them. So if you go out there, there's the old indoor facility, the outdoor field, and then you've got almost like a workout space out there in another building. Sometimes they put the other groups out there and put all the football players in there, but sometimes they combine them all. You just never know what they're going to do.
Is it behind the basketball gym?
The old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depends on your perspective, but yes, behind it, kind of. Yes, it depends on where you're looking, but it could be in front of it too.
They said something like they're having practice too.
I don't know that it's an open practice. They are having I think the NIL, the On to Victory people, they get early access for autographs, but also to watch a practice. The general public, the peons, do not. So
what is On to Victory?
So On to Victory is the NIL, name, image, and likeness, where they help pay the players. That's the Auburn Collective, the official one. I think it's official at this point. And they help, raise the money for the players. And because you contribute to it, you get to do special things like that from time to time.
Yeah.
So it's not super expensive, but it's not cheap either. So, but anyway. All right. Give me your final. Yeah, not final, but give me your early season record prediction. You said 12-0. Are you going to stick with that?
Yeah.
Well, if we lost to one team, who would it be?
Georgia.
Okay. All right. I'll go there with you. I'll go there with you. All right, Kevin. It was good to hear from you, buddy. Thank you as always for calling in.
I might see you next Saturday if you're there.
I will be there. So come find me.
Okay.
Good to see you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, War Eagle. There you go. I kind of cut him off with his War Eagle there. All right. We are at 8:55. So normally we start winding down here as we get closer to 9 o'clock. I don't necessarily have to run right at 9. So I want to go back, cover some of these topics that y'all brought up, even amongst some of the other things that we're talking about. But again, if you're here, if there's not a topic that we've addressed that you'd like to, please do drop that in right now. Even if it's something that we have discussed, we can quickly rehash that again. Don't miss your opportunity tonight to get your voice heard. I'll leave the phone line open for one more minute or two. Go ahead and hit it now if you're going to, because you'll miss out until next week. And don't be shy. Some of y'all got to start calling in here, right? So we appreciate you doing that. Let me give you a couple reminders about what's coming up here before we get back to some of your comments and questions. If you're not aware, the flagship show, folks, those of you that give me a crap about saying that, is every Sunday night at 9 Eastern time. Episode 88, The Auburn Experience, Auburn Sports, Auburn Culture, Auburn Family. It's orange and blue. It's what we do. That will be live at 9 Eastern time. Join us for that. If you get there right when the show starts, we're actually changing this a little bit. We will just move right into the show. So when you watch it, you'll see we're not interacting with the chat a lot, but hang tight. It's about 30 to 45-minute show. At the end of that, we'll say cut essentially, and then I'll stick around and talk to you guys a little bit like we're doing right now. So hope to see you guys there. If you're a fan of TikTok, we are on TikTok most weekdays. Won't be tomorrow, most likely, I think, unless something changes with my schedule. We'll see. But we do kind of impromptu Q&As there. So kind of a wild crowd. So if you're interested in being over there and hanging out with us, check us out on TikTok. We're everywhere else: Facebook, Instagram, X. Audio podcast. Would love to see y'all continue to subscribe on there. Leave a review if you can. It's a huge help to us. Basically, there's content everywhere. If you want it, it's out there. If there's something else you'd like, let us know. We'll think about it and see if we can get what you want, where you want, that's related to the orange and blue. Okay. As I said, final topics, comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals that are productive. Let's get into it right now. I want to bring what Neil brought up earlier, that I think this is something, I don't know if we've talked about it before here, but it would be incredible. It'd be awesome if Batee walked out on the field to do the coin toss this season. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. In no way do I think this should be like a requirement or like has to happen. We're talking about somebody's life here that we didn't know for sure what was going to happen with it when the incident happened. But as a person who loves a good story and loves to see beauty out of tragedy, and there is still so much tragedy surrounding the Batee situation, even with the miracle of Brian improving the way he seemingly has. How cool, how awesome would it be for there even to not be a whiff of it happening? It will break that he's able to do this if they do pull that off this year. But how cool would it be to just all of a sudden, fans, if you'll turn your attention to the 25-yard line, in recognition of our Auburn Tiger, Brian Battie. And then he, in whatever fashion he can get out there, or his family or something like that. Can you imagine the roar? And I do mean roar, no pun whatsoever, from Tiger fans, if that in some way is supposed to happen. I have chills right now. This is one of the reasons why I love to go to the games, because you miss out on moments like that when you're not there. They'll show you the replay, I'm sure, on TV, especially as big a story as that was. But to be there in that special moment, that's cool. So whether it happens or not is not important. But if it does, wow. That's all I got to say. Just wow. Okay. Let's roll through some of these other things here. Let's see here. Okay, John was saying, I asked John earlier what he thought about Hank Brady. He said, not much on tape, underdogs all. And if it's just the underdog story, cool. But as long as we are keeping it in the frame of reference, it's just what I prefer. And I don't have any reason to think that, like, legitimate. Because there's people that I've met that will try to tell you, oh, I've seen enough from Hank Brown. Like, okay, you don't watch football at all, do you? It's like, but I get the preferential stuff. Well, we'll see. My always optimistic prediction is we win them all. We all hope for that. It doesn't necessarily happen, though. Corey just wants us to spank Georgia for their homecoming game. I don't think we're going to beat them, but I think they will regret putting us as their homecoming game. Let's see here. Rolling through some of the chats that we haven't hit yet. Thomas says, boy, these ads cutting on the stream are annoying, but I understand they help grow the channel. They do. They do. I've been curious. Sorry, this is a bit of an inside, what do they call it? Inside baseball thing, just talking a little bit of shop here. I've been curious, since we were allowed to do that, what that experience would be like for you guys. Tom, if you can tell me here or just in the Discord or whatever, how often are the ads coming up for you guys? Like, I'm just curious about what the difference is there, or like how often it's affecting you guys. Let me know some of these. These are things that I always value hearing from you, all the help with the experience. But yes, some of it is necessary to help the channel, to help what we do here. But the more of you that sign up for the Cocker Club, $1 a month gets you in the door, the less we have a necessity for that. And you get you some perks. So links are in the description. Let's see here. I just want to see Brian standing on the sidelines with his brothers again, just being there again. He's an amazing young man and deserves all the prayers and support. Absolutely. AU has never, God, what are you reading there? Has really been flying under the radar lately, and it's nice to see Coach Freeze getting things done and recruiting. Well, it's what he sold himself on to come here, and he is definitely doing that. Is it the Missouri game also homecoming for them? Well, let's find out. Let's go over to my big screen over here. I have a new screen over here for you. Well, I act like it's a new screen. I just did some reconfiguring. Let's see. Missouri football homecoming. If they made us homecoming too, wow. Wow, we got some shade being thrown this year. Folks, I was not aware. I was not aware that Missouri. They made us their homecoming game. How have we let this slide? How have we been giving Georgia so much crap? Well, you know what? I take it back. This is a return favor for us naming them homecoming that year, and we nearly lost it. But woo! So then I first thought this was like, wow, okay, now I got to fire Leonard Mead. Then I'm like, oh, it's a return favor, so it's good. But this point still stands. I just realized that we're Missouri and Georgia's at homecoming this year. It's a choice. It's certainly a choice. If you don't need more any motivation, guys, I don't know what's going to do it for you. Oh, wow. What a revelation tonight. What a revelation. All right. We've got another caller who's gotten here. We'll get him in just a second. Let me just roll through here real quick. Dalton's. Okay. This was about the ads tonight. Normally it's not too bad. Tonight it seems more often than normal. That's interesting. I wonder what changed. Yeah. Anytime you guys can give me insights about stuff like that, that's actually very helpful. Even just send me a direct message either on social media, or if you guys have access to the Conquer Club, that's very helpful as well, because it'll help me make improvements to the channel and to the stream. So there's 2 for the stream. That's YouTube Premium. There you go. Well, there you go. There's an ad for YouTube. Thank you guys for the insights on this. All right. Let me get our caller in, and we will come back to some of this. Like I said, we don't have to necessarily leave at 9, but we'll get in and talk to somebody here. All right, here we go. And Mr. Rugarel, what's going on?
War Eagle, buddy, what's happening?
How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. Just trying to stay cool out here, man. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I feel you. I'm trying to stay cool.
Yeah, it's been brutal out here. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you, man, and War Eagle to you, bro.
Appreciate you.
I just need a little clarification as far as the realignment of the conferences, right? So they done away with the divisions. So
That's
it's
correct.
1 through 16, correct?
Yep.
So it's like, as far as the performance go, from 1 to 16. All right. I really don't like that, really. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, it's out of our hands. We can't do nothing but accept it. But it's just kind of, it's baffling that they would go back there. I mean, do that, I mean, it's kind of like BCS, right? I mean,
yeah, I get it. Like, I liked the divisional stuff. In fact, I was playing College Football 25 a couple days ago, setting up my dynasty without Auburn that I play. I played with Wyoming, if you care about that. And I went back to try to set up some of the conferences as divisions, and I couldn't make some of them work. But I liked the divisional play. Here's the one thing, though. When we had the divisional play, we as Auburn fans didn't get to see Florida, Tennessee, some of our traditional rivals, hardly ever.
Yes,
in fact, the way it was currently set up with just the 14 teams, let me put into perspective for you. You would only see Florida or Tennessee every 6 years, which means that you would only see them at their place every, and then they'd come to you another 6 years. So it takes a full 12 years to do this again with them, which is a travesty, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
So it's kind of that double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like the divisional play, what it creates in those rivalries, because like we've lost LSU every year. We've lost Mississippi State, Ole Miss, some stuff that's been built over the last couple of years with those teams.
Yes, sir.
But we're gaining more ability to see some of these other teams. Now we're also adding Texas and Oklahoma, so that's going to continue to build it out. So I get you. It's like we can't win no matter what we do.
So I work in Florida, destined over at Rum Runners, shout out Rum Runners. Let's go.
There you go.
So I get a lot of guys, that come in, and a lot of them will come in from Texas and Oklahoma, you know what I mean? And I'll be like, hey, welcome to the SEC, buddy. Like, yeah, we're going to take over. And I'm like, I don't think you guys really think. Like, I mean, I ain't going to take away from what you feel or what, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's going to be like that, brother. You know what I mean? So you got another thing coming, you know what I mean? So
listen, I get being excited about coming into the SEC. But if you think you're about to walk in here and run things, boy, you got another thing coming. You ain't ready for this.
And I mean, bro, and there'd be a group of them. So I'm just one man. And I feel like I'm so alone. Like I'm the only Auburn fan out there, bro. I just hardly ever see any. It's few of them there, but it's just a minuscule thing, Yeah. So this is I've been wanting to join the show.
Yeah.
And to share this information that I had ran across a while back, and it was pertaining to Coach Hugh Freeze. And what this information was, it was that Nick Saban tried to hire him prior to him coming to Auburn or whatever, but he was shut down by Greg Sankey. Now I'm trying to, in my mind, it's kind of like I'm trying to like put it together to make it make sense and why he wouldn't allow him to go up under Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, who knows? I mean, by God, the man he's an offensive guru like that, and I won't take away from anything that he did at Ole Miss. You know what I mean? But I mean, because that was great. You know what I mean? And with everything that they've done over there, and stuff like that. But you can't help but you can't help but run across some of the bias, that's like the negativity as well. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that really painted a bad picture about this guy. You know what I mean? And there's also a lot of them who's really, painted a very vibrant picture of him, you know what I'm saying, of what could become up under his tutorship. Now, as far as that goes, and if everything gels together like it's supposed to, I honestly think with the way that things have been turning or whatever, I think that we've made that pivotal point for the incline. And a lot of people are really going to be shocked by the numbers that Vegas set, that 7.5, that's going to get bust this year. That's going to get busted. And if I'm wrong, I'll come back on here and I apologize to everybody and say I was wrong for it. But I just don't believe that with that running back group that we got, the improvement of the offensive line, and then we got these wide receivers, bro. Like, man, we got something, and then the defense is there. It was there last year. We already know that. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, and the Ron Roberts, I can't forgive you, but good riddance.
Listen, I will never get upset at somebody calling for a more optimistic view on things. There's always great value in being skeptical about things and really thinking through things. But sometimes people lean way too hard into skepticism, and it becomes very overbearing and stuff like that. So the optimism.
There, buddy.
Hey, yeah, we're here. You there, Rugula?
Overbearing and stuff like that. So the optimism.
Oh, I can hear myself.
Hey, yeah, we're here. Are you there, Rugula?
Yeah, I'm trying to come back in. I don't know.
Oh, I can hear myself.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I don't know if my signal's going bad or what.
Here,
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I can hear myself.
But I can hear you, though.
Background.
Okay, well, I can hear myself in the background.
It's a little bit delayed, too. So do this.
It's a little bit delayed, too.
Call back in.
You call back in, and we'll let you finish your call.
Okay.
All right, that was weird. That was really weird. Let me actually exit him out. Call back in, Rugeril. We'll get you in. We'll let you finish your call. I don't know what happened there, but do I sound that annoying? Oh, there's a reason that I don't like editing shows anymore, because I have to listen to myself, and then I realize this is what y'all are listening to. Why are y'all here? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry that y'all have to hear that. That was me. Anyway. All right. While we wait to see if he's going to call back in, let's see if there's anything else we can cover here. Where am I on this set? They have spite for that talk about Missouri 2022 game, even though they lost it twice, and we want revenge for forcing us to keep Harsin for a couple of games. I think here's the weird thing about this. I think people have forgotten this, but there was talk around that game too, for potentially for Missouri's coach Eli Drinkwitz losing his job too after that. And look what's happened since then. The dichotomy there is just so weird. So I guess you could be, there you go. It is weird hearing your own voice. Oh my goodness. That was awful. I'm so sorry to all of y'all. You say, Thomas, I think you give yourself not enough credit. Every time you're on the show, everybody loves hearing from you. So even if you did sound bad, obviously your substance is good things there. But it's a weird wake-up call when you hear yourself officially over somebody else's phone lines there. I hope we can get Rugeril back. We might have to start winding the show down because we are a little bit extended here, but I want to make sure I give him a shot to call back in. But we got a lot of good stuff from him there. And I believe we've heard from him before one time. He's maybe a couple times he's called in. So as an encouragement to all of you guys that are first timers here or just brand new here, some of you that are long time here, don't be shy. Call in. If you just want to say, hey, it gives me a nice break to like take a breather for a second and stop having to talk. You sound awfully Southern. Well, some people like that. Some people like that. All right. I will stall for as long as I can for him for another few minutes. Make sure we didn't miss any other content from you guys that maybe we wanted to discuss. GS player who's sick. Jan, I'm not understanding what that comment was about GA Hedges. No, I'm having a hard time picking that up. That was one from Facebook. That's interesting. All right. In summary, the things that we have covered this evening. We talked at the start about Auburn in the Olympics. SUNY's another gold medalist. We talked about Big Cat Weekend. We talked about practice starting. We heard from Thomas. We heard from Kevin. We heard from Rugeril. We heard conversations around season predictions. We talked a little bit about the basketball schedule that's shaping up to be. We have covered a lot of things this evening. Thank you guys so much. It's been a really fun show tonight. And I really appreciate you guys joining on the conversation. I say this every time, and I know you guys probably roll your eyes when I say this, because I know y'all see some of the numbers too. This isn't the most viewed show ever that we do, and a lot of people, conventional people, tell me you should stop doing that because there's not as many people tuning in. But I can't, because you guys are, especially those that have been here for a while, very loyal, showing up, providing great interaction and stuff like that. I truly enjoy Wednesday nights the most out of everything that we do, because it's just easy. And that's a lot to do with you guys. Good content creator friend of mine called it for his stuff, different space, not sports or anything. You know, I just made the clubhouse. You guys populate it and made it what it is. And that's really what's happening here on these Wednesday nights. So trying to get all mushy here and stuff like that. But I truly value you guys coming here. So if you want to see this grow, obviously subscribe, obviously smash the like button, obviously share it with a friend, bring them on in, share it on social media. You guys are great. Don't do away with the second tier show. I know you love the flagship show, but y'all like hearing from Austin too, right? So you get him on that show most weeks. All right. Let's call it a night, guys. I don't know that we're going to hear from him again, but he has the opportunity to call next time. But it was a great call up until the point we lost him there or had connection issues, all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Appreciate you. Might do wait a minute. We might have him here. I was about to call it off. Let's see if we can get him in. There he is.
Hey, man, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's a bad weather, brother, but
I stalled for as much as I could for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. But yeah, I was still trying to. I was hoping that you could follow up what you was going to say before everything shut out. Sorry.
Remind me where we were going with that. So what was the specific thing you wanted me to take on?
Yeah. Well, it was about the Greg Sankey refusing to hire let Nick Saban hire Hugh Freeze and
right.
Yes, sir. And
so
the other follow-up of
the team and how where we're heading and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So about the reported refusal of Greg Sankey to let him go under Nick Saban, which we've seen a lot of coaches do that, right?
Yes, sir.
We've seen Sarkisian, who's now head coach at Texas. I did it. I mixed up the UTs. That's going to be all season. We've seen that before. That was a report that was out there that was actually asked of when Hugh Freeze was hired here at Auburn, and he refuted it. Greg Sankey refuted it. Now, they say one thing in public, the private could be a different thing.
Right.
Nick Saban, I think, even refuted it as well. So the parties all involved have said that's not true.
Okay.
But we don't know, right? Only they
right.
know what the truth is. But you're aware of kind of some of the things that happened at Ole Miss with Hugh,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's in regard to the speculation that happened was in regard to some of the things that he owned up to. He's apologized for and expressed great remorse for. So I think that's what that was about, which is why he went off and had his time at Liberty. And now is back in the SEC because there's been more extended time away from that, effectively having the punishment. And not, no offense to Liberty, but I mean, everybody wants to play in the SEC, right?
Right.
You know,
of course.
So I hope that answers your question on that.
Yeah, it did because like I wasn't able to really get out there and ask somebody like who may have had like another connection of information with that, as so to speak, to actually clarify that. You know what I mean? Because it was just kind of like Nick Saban couldn't have that pull with Greg Sankey to get who he wanted as his offensive coordinator. That just don't make sense to me. You know what I mean? And it would have been more so had it came out and be like, okay, yeah, he did try to hire him, but Hugh Freeze was like, nah, I don't want to work with you. You know what I mean? We're rivals, buddy. I love you, but we're rivals. I'll see you on the plains. You know what I mean? Something like that. It probably would have just moved it all over. But thank you for answering that because now I know for sure. You know what I'm saying?
This is my interpretation. It's my interpretation of it. So just take that for what it's worth.
Yes,
but I've had other people ask about it, and that's kind of the way I have explained it from reading about it, from listening to what has been said. Everybody likes to believe the sensationalized things that there's some big, conspiracy, deep, dark thing going on there.
Of course.
I just never see anything to back that up. And I have a good friend that I don't know who his source is in the athletic department, but I ask a lot of very hard questions to them about, and we had these conversations about when Hugh Freeze arrived. All right, so we know about what happened in his past. Has he had enough time away? Is he a repentant man? All that kind of stuff. And and he said, I will tell you this from what I'm told, yes, and that he's earned his time back here, and I trust their opinion.
Yes, sir.
So we are all sinners. We have all fallen short of the glory of God.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't excuse what happens, but sometimes we need to learn to be forgiving. And the great thing is he's doing it here in Auburn. And to round out what you were talking about, where his potential we've seen at Ole Miss, when you align that with the potential that we know is here at Auburn, regardless of who's here, it's kind of funny how maybe you're seeing this, as you said, kind of all coalesce into finally on an incline here.
Right.
Whether it's recruiting, NIL money.
Yes, sir.
I do agree with you that we are heading in the right direction. And my belief and hope is that this last year was the final, that's it. That's the last place we're falling to at this point.
Sir.
Now, I'm not saying this year is like 9-3, 10-2. It's not my official prediction yet. But what I am saying is you called it an incline. It's like Gus Malzahn used to do for us, that we're going this way on the incline.
Right.
So, I'm there with you on that thinking.
Yes, sir. And how about Big Cat Weekend, man? Like they showed out, man. And I really like that. I mean, I can brag a little bit. Like I can really, really go out here and go represent for them Tigers, man. And listen, I love it, man.
Hey, just ask them if they've had 8 commits from one weekend in a matter of 36 hours, something like that. I mean, just go ask anybody who's had something like that.
I don't think they can come up with an answer, but my time is a little bit running short or whatever, but I will ask you to do one thing for me whenever you do go up there and you get to see those guys, man. Tell them I'm rooting for them. Tell them we all rooting for them, man. You know what I mean? Just give it what they got. You know what I mean? And don't hold their head down. Be proud of everything that they accomplish, man. You know what I mean? And live life and be fun and have fun. You know what I'm saying? Laugh about it. Look at what we had last year. That's irrelevant now. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Shake their hand. Shake Coach Hugh Freeze's hand and tell them, man, we love them and we rooting for them, man. We pulling for them.
Love it, sir. Let me go run through a wall right now because I'm pumped. Let's do this.
Let's do it, man. Let's get it.
Hey, man, great call. Love to hear from you. I love to hear from you some more too.
Likewise, brother. You have a good night, man.
War Eagle. You too. War Eagle. That's a great way to end our calls this evening. So thank you guys for sticking around there. I was hoping we get Rugeril back in there one more time. He was great, well-rounded and just kind of different takes on things. So always love hearing new voices here. All right. I'm not going to go through the spiels again. I told y'all that I love you. I appreciate you guys on this show. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family, and I appreciate you so much. Thanks for joining in. Hope to see you next week at this time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, or on Sunday at 9 Eastern time. But stay tuned, stay subscribed, because you never know where we're going to pop up with more content about the orange and blue just for you. All right, till then, War Eagle. I just kind of rhymed, and that was kind of weird. Threw me off, but War Eagle.